how to get a backend job or any other programming job, to be honest, but I'm a backend developer, so I'm gonna talk about my job search for a backend position experience. And yes, it's hard, but it's doable. Of course, before we start, I can't really promise you will get a job after watching this video. It took me a lot of time and effort to prepare myself for the job search, the interviews, and I really can't sell you dreams that after watching only one video you will magically spawn a job. But I think I can at least improve your chances of getting your new position or finding your first position as the programmer or backend developer. For example, when there's like a small gap you need to cross to get a job, hey, it might be this. And yes, it took me years and a university degree to learn programming. I'm actually on a last semester of my mm, engineering degree, and it was a lot of work and effort to get this. I'm not a self-taught guy, and I'm not gonna talk to someone who is also self-taught, but I would like to speak in this video to a person who is also in university or just finished university or is going to finish in next few months. Also, I had a lot of help from my friends and family in preparation and in a job search. For example, my dad is a developer with 20 years in experience in front-end development and is also organizer of one of the biggest conferences about Angular and JavaScript in the world. So the connections are here, and he obviously helped me with the preparation. He also sent my CV to few of his like contacts, but it didn't lead to anything, so that doesn't matter really. But it was like nice of him, and I feel like I should disclose that is it was the case. Also, my cousin is a manager or like a recruiter in Deloitte, so I also had some some help from him, and he also gave away my CV to like his teammates because he's in like doing front end, and he sent my CV to a backend team, but it also didn't result in any invitation. But he helped me a lot with preparing questions I could ask uh, interviewers, which is I'm going to talk about later. So if we get this like disclosures out of the way, why should you even listen to a guy like me? I'm just like a fresh junior developer that just got his like first real full-time job in tech. You can obviously watch some senior developer who's out of the market for like 10 years now. He doesn't have to look for a job. He doesn't know how the job market uh, looks like now. Or you can listen to someone who was in your shoes like 2 weeks ago. I literally got signed the documents this week when I'm recording. I got this job this week. Like, literally, I got this offer this week. So you can listen to someone who just did it. Like I know your pain and struggle. So instead of watching like some Apna College, who I don't know if you guys are familiar with the recent drama of these guys who is not looking for a job, haven't done that in many years, and is basically preying on your needs of getting a job, or someone who genuinely wants to help you and was in your position like right now. Okay, so we got all of this introduction out of the way. Sorry for it taking so long. So let's go to the meat of this video. So should you grind lead code and they say when preparing for a job interview, or should you make projects? I think the obvious answer, if you watched any video about this topic, is that you should make projects. But I also, when preparing to job, grinded lead code and did DSA because I was interviewing at Visa. I unfortunately didn't make it there, and they only do DSA and lead code like style interviews. So if your goal is to get to a company like Google, Amazon, which is wasn't really my goal. Um, they do a lot of DSA and lead code style interviews, so probably should focus more on that. But for normal everyday companies, which also pay really good and provide a lot of good benefits, it won't really help you, to be honest. And making a good projects will be much more valuable. But I think you should still know the basics of DSAs. For example, how to reverse a string. I don't know how to traverse a binary tree. This is like a real question I was asked in one of the interviews in one of the company I also got offer. And I think you should, even if you are interviewing for like a company that doesn't do lead code style interviews, you should still know the basic algorithms. And if you are like a college graduate or like a you are advanced in your college education, I think you should had like at least one class about this like basic algorithms. So if you like didn't like slack on this class, I think you should be good to go. I think college is like a lot of people shit on college that is like waste of time and it's like some random stuff. But when searching for a job, I understood that a lot of stuff I wouldn't even think to learn, and I just learned it passively by going to college. And now I have it in my head, and I don't have to like do any additional preparation. From example, from like SQL, um, relational databases, and so on. And yeah, it was like a lot of knowledge I wouldn't even think to learn by myself. I wouldn't do it if someone forced me because I hated SQL when I had to learn it. But now it's like a basic of like it was base of what I'm going to do. And actually, on every interview I was, every backend interview I was doing, there was questions about SQL and the relational databases. So it's super important to learn this stuff. And okay, so we got this out of the way. Yeah, obviously you should make some good projects that are not like, oh yeah, I did like a to-do list. So yeah, I can actually show you maybe if we go to my GitHub, what projects I had. And maybe we go in a second to a CV, but yeah, I had my recent projects. Yeah, so maybe we go to this later when we talk about CV. And if we're talking about CV, how should your CV look like? So here is the CV that got me the most like interviews, and in the end got me two offers, which one of which I accepted. So basically, this is called Jake's resume, this like format, and it's like super simple, super readable, super like system like for the interview system that the recruiters use to like choose you. Is super friendly for that. It starts with a summary, but basically you can copy this and just replace with like your relevant stuff, which is also what I did. And it starts with like your summary. Like you can ask ChatGPT honestly to write it or do something similar to me. And then it's something like that I added the bullet points of like the most important things I want the interviewers to know. So for example, I have 3+ years of Java development experience, and here, obviously, I counted the college and my like private projects. It's not like the commercial experience. I didn't write here that it's commercial experience. But most often, and these companies don't look for, if you're interviewing for a junior position, they don't look for exactly commercial, like 5, 10 years experience, but they don't want you to just be the person who like started learning programming like last year, because the first year is like you don't know anything basically. You are no one in programming, and they want to have some like experience, for example, college experience, project experience, and yeah, obviously here the Spring Boot development experience because I was interviewing for Java and Spring Boot positions. Here I have experience. It was basically a gig I did for uh, one company. It wasn't like a full-time position, and it's not even in like a Java and PHP. Uh, Obviously, you might not have any experience here. So I can't really. I mean, you are searching for a job because you want this experience also. But I think here I could say you should um, probably look for some like internships, uh, which is which college is really helpful with. I also had a different internship experience here that I could put here, but it wasn't really relevant for like the backend and Java development stuff. So I leave it out of leave it out of the experience. And this basically was like a full stack developer position because it was like basically a one person project for this company, and it's so I put it here because it had like relevant skills for the backend. And okay, I can't really talk about more about this because I don't think it will be any helpful for you. But let's go to the projects I made that I put on my resume. And the first one is a GitHub repository service, which is a project that basically connects to the GitHub API and does some crude operations on it. I mean, not really crude because it mostly is reading data about users and stuff. And this project shows that I can work with APIs. I know what I do. I know how to read documentation of like a public API, and of course, it doesn't. You don't have to do GitHub API. It can be any API, maybe not weather API because like it's overdone. But find like maybe some financial API, maybe some like banking system that has like open API, and just play around with it, uh, see what you can do, and create some interesting project that uses external API. And next project I did was like a just a simple crude app. It was basically a sports manager where you can like add competitions, add competitors to competitions, connect these competitors with like coaches, like basically um, simple crude application that I wanted to like do from the start to finish. Like had the backend, database, deployment, tests, and like basically it wasn't like for to showcase like a logic, complex logic, but like the whole process from start to finish. So I had something to talk about, and like here I use Spring Boot Timeleaf, Spring Data JPA, and MySQL as the database. Of course, education. Uh, I should disclose it previously. I finished like a really good college, university in my country that a lot of interviewers like will know. And basically, in the company that I got and accepted the offer, like the technical guy was also a graduate of the same university, so it was really helpful. I don't know how I can exactly give you any tips on this because, like, I think um, it's like not really something you can do, and um, I mean, not something you can do. Like, it's not really up to you what college you will finish because it's like it could it could cost like a lot of money, and basically, but it's still better to have something here than nothing. Okay, so what skills you should put, or at least what skills I put. Basically, I looked at the most popular, most common skills that were put uh, in the in the job offerings, and just like basically read more about that and put them here. Basically, of course, these are all the things that I have experience with, but I only focused on the stuff that the job offerings were actually looking for, because my first CV was like all over the place. It was like about C++, about like Python, about Java, JavaScript, C Sharp, Linux, like every random skill I learned in college and like during my like private projects. Like for example, I did like in C++ like some game engines to the game engines. I also put it there that like as a project, and yeah, it was like all over the place. And your CV should be like really focused. It was really helpful to me that it was like really focused, and I also got a lot of actually compliments on this CV from like the recruiters. But I will also advise you to put some like keyword stuff. Like this is like this doesn't mean anything, but it's like a keyword for the systems that the recruiters use. And sometimes basically your CV could be ignored because it didn't have like some random keyword that is obvious. But for example, if I'm a Spring Boot developer, it's rather obvious that I'm using Java. But the recruiter is like selecting in the system that hey, I'm looking for a Java developer, and this guy doesn't have a skill with Java. So yeah, it is getting passed. And languages I'm native English and I'm sorry, I'm native Polish and English. I think I'm really it's kind of advanced. You can see for yourself, I think. And yeah, there's like some agreements and consents about my personal data. And also, as you can see, I didn't put any like that I'm advanced Java or advanced Spring Boot or like something else. Because if you put something like this, it's like a good vector of attack for the recruiters to ask you some like super specific, super hard questions about this specific technology that you as a junior probably don't know. Uh, don't like so don't give opportunity for recruiters to like put you in a tough spot and ask some random questions. I just put I'm a Java developer, so I know Java, I know Spring Boot, I know MySQL, I know some basics of AI and ML models, like basic concept, because I had this in my university, and I know how to utilize LMs for development. Like, and I know Git, I know GitHub, I know Jira, but I'm not like expert in these fields, so they don't have reason to like ask me super hard questions. Okay, so we got CV out of the way. Uh, what we actually talked about what skills should you have, should you learn. I would say that for the backend role, you should know at least like basics, like s- slightly advanced stuff for the junior developer of the SQL and the relational databases. Here we're gonna talk about this later. I have the most notable questions I was asked in these interviews, and there's like a lot of stuff about, uh, for example, what is database index, what is like transactions, what is like transactional in also Spring Boot. Also, there were a lot of questions about like stuff related to like APIs, like backend in general, like different for example, what is API in dependency? I believe that's how we pronounce it. Stuff about Docker and basically also about unit tests. But we'll talk about this later, so we'll go back to this. Okay, next question. Should you mass apply or make custom CVs for every position? I personally just mass applied for position for basically every opening that was on these different sites, and I did one CV for each one of them. Basically, I made this CV that I showed you before with like the mind that this is like for a dream position I want to have, and I just sent it to every every like Java Spring Boot position I saw, and basically I didn't care if I get like response or not. Basically, I thought that if this if this company likes my CV, that means that this job is for me. So basically, I can imagine that making custom CV for like every position is could be beneficial, but I think it would take a lot of time, and this like making this one CV for your like dream role is better, and then just apply for different positions. Okay, my additional advice is to create a brag document. It probably will help you more when you already have some like experience position. I personally didn't write this document before like starting my interviews. I did it later, but I had this stuff in mind. Basically, uh, in this document, you write what projects you did in this company, what are your responsibilities, what are the technologies, what are like the lessons learned, biggest problems, and how do you approach these challenges and problems, because these are the questions you will be asked by the interviewers. And it's much easier to like have this thing write it down in one place than like having to think about it on the spot. If you have document like this, you can just like remind yourself what you writing down here, then had to think about something new. So a brag document is like super important and something you should have. And basically in this brag document, if you don't have any experience, you can talk about your uh, non-commercial projects, so like your private projects that you did, and it will be also cool. So okay, next step. This video is getting really long. I didn't expect it actually. But next step is to post on social media. Probably if you like don't want to be like a influencer, it probably will choose LinkedIn. But obviously also I'm very active on YouTube as you can see, and also on LinkedIn. Basically, you don't have to like be like a blogger, like a post, whatever stuff you're doing. Uh, you just have to like do post like, "Hey, I did this project. Hey, I finished this course. Hey, I was on this conference. Hey, I learned this new thing." Basically, a simple post screaming to the void that, "Hey, recruiters, I'm here. I'm doing stuff. Uh, Notice me," basically. And actually, funny thing is that the company that I accepted the offer from, I got the offer. Actually, the recruiter said that he saw that I was sending like my CV, but he actually founded me on LinkedIn, and only after that, after finding me on LinkedIn and seeing stuff that I do, that I'm active on YouTube, I'm active on LinkedIn, and seeing like liking the stuff that I did, he contacted me and invited me to uh, to interview. So I think having this online presence and showing the stuff that we're building, that we're doing, and of course, I think GitHub also counts as like a social media. So having like active LinkedIn is also, I think, super cool. Sorry, not LinkedIn. I meant GitHub, obviously. Okay, so we have all this preparation out of the way. What you should expect on the interview process? First of all, don't really be scared of rejections. Uh, the first three companies that I interviewed with didn't lead to anything. Like I was basically rejected, and it's normal. Basically, these were like super good learning experiences, with which allowed me to perform much better on the next interviews. And we can actually go to the document ongoing interviews, which is basically I did a document where I um, documented every like interviews I had. I didn't like put here companies that like didn't even invite me to interviews, like for that my CV were rejected. I only put here companies that I actually interviewed to, and every like what were the rounds and what were the result of this. And here I also put like the notable questions, like the stuff that was often asked or I didn't like know the answer to the first time it was asked. So, and yeah, mm, I think it's super important if you do something like this when you actually start getting these interviews, and even if you get rejected, you like now know what is the like the most common things these people ask you, because basically I was asking like few like three interviews, what is the like difference between interface and abstract class in Java. And the third time I was asked that, I literally gave away perfect experience, perfect answer, because I knew what the interviewer was expecting from me with this question. I even noted down here. So do something like this when you start getting interviews. Okay. Also, don't downplay your achievements when having this when talking about your experience. Of course, you should be like truthful, don't lie, and like don't mm, no don't cheat your interviewers. But also like don't really downplay your achievements. Say what you did. Say like what were your experience, all of the whys and hows, and be like uh, present your like experience in like a favorable way that is not lying, but showing your experience in like a good light. When editing this video, I realized I forgot about one of the most important things I wanted to show in this video, which is like the my notes I made preparing uh, for a job interview. And here I listed topics that I needed to explore more when preparing. These are stuff that are relevant for like obviously Java and Spring Boot development. So if you're interested in that, I think you should learn more about this stuff. Obviously, for like other backend jobs or obviously things like, for example, uh, TDD, so test driven development, AWS, or basically any other provider that you are expected to work with on your job is relevant here. Of course, Docker, hexagonal architecture, and how the software development lifecycle works, uh, and how we can, for example, explore it with AI, which is also like very relevant in today, and you will like get a lot of like points in the mind of your interviewers when you, for example, think show that you are thinking about the stuff because no one is really expecting you to do that at junior position. Okay, here also listed some certificates that could help you obviously get a job, but it's really optional. I haven't got any of these certificates, but I was like researching what certificates I could do when I was looking for a job. But obviously, I got the job before I had the opportunity to do any of this. So it's really optional. So I'm not gonna talk about it more. Here's like example coding tasks that you could get when uh, uh, on an interview, obviously, and basically you would have to what I had, I didn't specify it here because first thing I had to do was to design some simple database with like many to many relation or like some like foreign indexes, and this will be like the beginning of the task. Then you will have to design SQL query uh, that will read data from this many to many relation, for example, and then you'll have to write some endpoint or some tests that will test this something like this. I think in the job that in the job interview that I got accepted in, finally I had to um write only parts of the code of this like method and fix like a bug and yeah, something like that. Uh, So this is like the example tasks, coding task you can have. Like normal company, obviously in like companies like Google that do lead code style interviews, you will get a lead code question instead of like a real example. Okay, and we talked previously about what you should order your projects. Your projects should have a good README, and you can go to make README to see good example README. You can also look at my project READMEs, for example, this Minecraft plugin that I did, how the README looks like. So here we have like installation usage, but maybe for a better example uh, for coding interview, I have my maybe employee experiment database that was like one of that. So basically we have like requirements here, installation, features, uh, how to use it, and maybe even better will be the sports manager that I talked about previously, which is like a really uh, uh, big README file. Let's go back to the notes. Uh, for example, UML. diagrams that I had here. Yeah, something like this. The database diagram design, uh, obviously clean Git commits, uh, the diagram of the database, as I said. So when interviewer looks at your project, he doesn't have to figure out stuff. He can just like he doesn't even have to really like clone the repository and look at your project here and just read what is here. If he sees something like this, that you have like a documentation with like screenshots, diagrams, he knows that you know what you know your stuff. And if you look at the commits, to be honest, I'm not like really good at commit messages, and I just like do random stuff sometimes. But if you have like this nice commit messages, it will be also a plus for you. And this is the stuff that I think was super helpful for me and put me like miles ahead of other candidates, was the questions I asked at the end of the interviews. Because most often after interview you will get some time for your questions, and like to you can show that you are really interested in the job. You like did your research. You are basically a real deal. And some of the questions, basically, like my cousin that works at Deloitte gave me gave me some of them. And for example, you can ask about what is the seniority of the team you will be working with. What is the structure? How many like seniors, regular seniors? Next, how the company takes care of your developer growth? Did they provide mentorship, courses, certificates, and so on? Uh, Also, very interesting question. What are the like lengths of the projects? Do you write projects from scratch? You do maintenance? You create new features? Basically, how your job will look like and how often you are expected to go to a new project or learn something new. And so, what is like the evaluation process of your your uh, performance in the job? Are there like tests, maybe how many commits commits you do? Basically, what you need to focus on to like progress in this company to get uh, like raises, and how to go to the like next position. And this is also like I think very important. And same with like the goals for the developer growth, what you need to do to be considered a good fit for like a better position. This question, I found that someone in the internet. I haven't really asked this question because I think it's kind of like try hardy. I think, but I think it's you can ask something similar to this. Like I think it's like similar to the these two questions. Uh, Basically, ask what you need to do to make the company happy with with you, and what are you expected to do to really excel at your job. Okay, I think this video is much longer than I anticipated. uh, if you want, you can check out my private community where I put all of my courses. So if you like my style of teaching, you can check out more of that. The link is top link in the description. And here's the next video, YouTube things you should watch. Until next time, create some amazing applications.